What's going on, everyone? Cubeologist here again, and as you can see by the title, today we're doing a Q&A. So what I did is I actually posted on Twitter. I said, hey guys, Twitter Q&A, ask away, and now we're going to get into that. So as you can see, I'm doing an average of 12 on my GANs 356, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's not a PB or anything, but like I said, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's sub 17, but like all of my averages, it has its ups and downs. But I will put the scrambles in the description and you can follow along and see how you do as compared to me. I'm working on my F2L, so it might look like I've kind of slowed it down some, but when I do that, I'm a lot more consistent and I tend to get a lot more solves under like 15 seconds. So that's what I'm shooting for. My global's still high 16, low 17. But we're working on it, guys. So let's get into these questions. So the first question comes from Keiji. I'm not even going to butcher your name. I will just leave it at that. And he or she asks, what got me into cubing? I actually just bought a Rubik's Cube from a bookstore one day, just your typical Rubik's Cube, and I looked up online how to solve it. And I think I used a tutorial by Vince Roca. I'm not completely sure, but anyway, I solved it using the beginner's method, and then one day, it was probably 4 or 5 months later, I typed in how to get faster, and then it was like tumbling down the rabbit hole. And then Lloyd DeBest asks how long I have been cubing. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think it's around 2 years of getting faster, but I've probably been cubing about 3 years if you count just learning the original cube. And then Ma Wolf asks, top 3 worst puzzles in my collection. Well, I would have to say the new Rubik's Cube puzzle just because of the lack of improvement. Now, everybody was telling me that I could tension it and I needed to break it in, and I actually used that puzzle a little bit more after the video I made. I found out that you actually cannot tension it because I took one of the caps off and there are rivets under it, and then I probably did 100 solves on it and it was just too tight to use. So I think it's maybe luck of the draw, but yeah, that's probably my #1 worst puzzle just due to lack of improvement by Rubik's. And then I would say the Mario XD Cube, because that was pretty bad. And then I would probably go with something like my Ishin 4x4 or 5x5. Now, I've heard that they were actually pretty good when they came out, but as of right now, they're really bad to me. And then AFK Cuber asks, what is the best way to improve on YouTube? Honestly, just make videos. I've said this probably 5 or 6 times before on my channel, but the old adage, practice makes perfect, actually does apply to YouTube. You don't even have to be good when you start, just start and you'll learn stuff along the way and you'll inevitably get better if you just focus on making each video better than the last. So yeah, just jump into it head first and start improving just due to experience. Then Dominic asks if I plan on going to Euros in Prague. I would absolutely love to. I've been to Europe a couple times and I love it over there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to Prague for Euros. That's definitely on my bucket list, on a wish list of mine to go to a competition in Europe, but it's just not financially possible right now. Then Edward jokingly asks, can I have a USL? And then he says, seriously, do you have any tips for memorizing PLLs fast? Well, the only tip I would have is to recognize triggers in the algorithms. So make sure you know triggers like sexy move, RU, R prime, U prime, or R prime F, R F prime, that's sledgehammer, just different things like that, and you start to pick them out in different algorithms. So then once you see those, the algorithm becomes 2 or 3 moves where it's like maybe sledgehammer, U2 sledgehammer, or something like that, as opposed to memorizing each individual move. That way they're pretty easy to remember. And then Aaron asks, why did I start a YouTube and when? And then also, do I have any Thunderclaps left? Well, I'll start with the last one first. Yes, I do have a Thunderclap. It's a white one, but I just have it to make the stickers for it. So I don't really have one that I use, but I don't really hate the puzzle. That's a misconception. I just thought that would be a fun video, and blowing it up turned out to be a lot of fun. So definitely don't recommend doing it, but it was a lot of fun. And why did I start YouTube? I actually started because of a contest. One of my favorite YouTubers at the time, his name was Adventures in Cubing, and I thought he was coming back, but unfortunately it was just like one video and I haven't seen anything else. But Adventures in Cubing had a video contest, like a walkthrough contest. And after I made that video, I was like, hey, you know, I've got all this stuff set up now, I can make another video. And then I just started making as many videos as I could. Then Mode, or MOHD, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, asks, how do I practice look ahead, or how do you practice it in general? I definitely don't think the typical answer of just slow solves covers everything. Now, I think that slow solves is a big part of it, but you can do slow solve after slow solve and not focus on looking ahead or ignoring the pair you're actually working on, and it will do absolutely nothing for you. So slow solves is a big deal, but you have to do slow solves with the correct focus in mind. So when you're doing your slow solves, never look at the pair you're doing, and always trying to look for the next pair, or maybe how inserting this pair will affect the pieces that are already in the slot, things like that. There's just different things you can look for, and make sure you're learning while you're doing slow solves, because that's why you're slowing down, right? You're slowing down so you have time to think. So if you slow down and don't think about what you're doing, it's just as pointless as spamming TPS and getting your usual time. So slow solves with a focus on learning will definitely help your look ahead. I need to take my own advice. I'm working on it, I promise. Then Jetmaster asks, where do I think the biggest area for improvement is? In 3x3, look ahead and pauses for sure. My last layer is horrible. Cross to F2L is bad. Basically anywhere that involves looking ahead, ton of improvement. And 2x2, I mean, I'm starting from nothing, so I could improve from the ground up there. All right, so my first few answers kind of ran a little bit long, so I'm going to do a speed round here. Let's answer some of these questions as quickly as possible. So Birdie asks, would you ever be interested in playing CSGO with fans? Yes, I would really like to. I just don't really know how to get started in that, and I'm typically pretty busy. And then another question from Lloyd. He said, do you have any one-look OLL tips? Not really. It's just dedication. You just have to learn the algs and then learn how to recognize them. There really isn't a secret for that. Then Legit Cubing says, who would you say your favorite and least favorite cubers are? My least favorite cuber is probably Chris Olsen, just to get on his nerves. My favorite cuber, I don't know, maybe Jay McNeil, maybe Jabari, maybe Felix. I don't really have a favorite. Then Will Newhoff asks, do you plan on increasing your TPS in the near future? And what is your biggest goal for 3x3? I would love to consistently make second round in 3x3, average around 12. Just be confident that when I travel all this distance, I won't just get one average. And increasing TPS is difficult for me. I think I have bigger problems right now, but I think that's something that will come in the future. And then Zev Parson asks, what speed should you be at to go to a competition? Just go to a competition. If you can solve one in under 10 minutes, go to a competition. The solving is such a small part of it. Just go to a competition and meet people. Trust me, you'll have a great time. Then Parallax asks, are you going to Nats? Yes, luckily I got in before it filled up. Unfortunately, nobody else can sign up. Then Asaf asks, what's your current PB single in competition? I think it's like a 14.5. And then Acerson says, do you think you could make a video of your top 10 favorite puzzles? Actually, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Then Eduardo asks, what's your favorite cubing store? Cubes for Speed, man. They gave me a job. They gave me a discount. I absolutely love that place. Easily the fastest shipping in the US. But that's going to be it, guys. I really appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more Q&As like this in the future, give it a thumbs up. I might do my next one on Instagram. I'm not totally sure, but I really appreciate all the questions. I really appreciate all the interest. And thank you so much for watching. You'll hear from me really soon, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Today I've got a quick unboxing from Cubes for Speed, which, as always, I'm pretty excited about. So both of these puzzles I've actually already tried out. One I already have, and one I actually had and gave away. So I wanted to try them out again, and Cubes for Speed was nice enough to send them over. Here we have the new YJ Guansu. So this is like the Guanlong version of the 4x4, but it is much better than a Guanlong, and I really like this 4x4. I hope this one's